Here's what Sebastian Blumert, Chair of the Facilities Committee, has to say about changing the accumulation period to benefit both the students and Aramark.
Hi, my name is Sebastian and I'm the Chair of the Facilities Committee. As such, I am also responsible of food issues on campus, and I chair the Food Committee, which is a university-wide committee dealing with food issues. In this committee we have been talking a lot about food prices and meal plan issues, and I have been able to have a discussion with the Vice President, Dr. Alexander Ziegler-Jöns, about meal plan accumulation. There have been a lot of requests for a dish return trolley to be placed in front of the servery of College Nordmetall. Now, on this issue we are still discussing because there is some reluctance on the part of Jacobs University to place such a trolley there, because technically it is against the rules to take dishes from the servery at all, and they don't want to support this by providing a trolley to return them. However, we think it is vital to place a trolley there, because at the moment trays and dishes are littering the hallways of Nordmetall, and this would be an easy solution to solve this problem. Quite in general, however, I would also like to appeal to the student body to please return the dishes. At the moment, Jacobs University has to pay 5,000 euros in a semester to replace dishes that have gone as trays, so please do return them. Regarding the new cash card system, Jessica Eistale and I have been able to negotiate with the university that we will be going back to a 2-week accumulation period, so your money will only cut off at approximately 180 euros. This will implement it as soon as possible. However, there are some problems still on a technical level that need to be solved before this can be implemented. The reason why the shift to the 2-week accumulation period is taking long is, and I do not want to be apologetic for Jacobs University because it should not take that long, but there are basically 3 companies involved. There's one company providing the software solution for the cash card system, there's one company providing the hardware, and the whole system is integrated into CampusNet, so the company that produces and maintains CampusNet is also involved. This resulted in a lot of technical difficulties that are still unsolved, and there are still some problems with certain cash cards. Once these issues are solved, Jacobs University will switch to a 2-week accumulation period as soon as possible. Initially, we were told that once it's solved, it will take 4 weeks to be implemented. However, right now we have gotten positive signals that this period of 4 weeks might not be necessary, that we will be able to get it quicker. Of course, my committee deals with a lot of issues about facilities on campus in general, with Blue Lounge, H3, the barbecue, and with food. So if you have any concerns, problems, or questions about that, please feel free to contact me at any point in time.
Regarding the issue with the trays in Nordmetall, we urge students to return the trays, cutlery, and plates to the servery. This isn't only economically draining Aramark, it's making a nasty, dirty environment in one of our newest residential colleges. Whether from word of mouth or one of 300 spams, everybody's heard about the USG budget fiasco. Well, here we have Taylor Hartwick, president of the Undergraduate Student Parliament, to tell us a little bit about what just really happened.
Regarding the excess budget that is allocated to the USG, can you tell us more about this change?
Right, so as I think everyone is aware now, there's been some sort of discrepancy in terms of what the size of our excess budget is. And I think in order to really understand how this change came about and what the factors are, you really need to understand it in the context of where this excess budget came from. For quite a few years, accounting wasn't doing the books for the USG budget. And so we were keeping our own records of what we were allocating, but there was no record of how much of that money was then spent beyond our approval. And so last year, David Shish and Andres from the Financial Affairs Committee really pushed hard to get those records of how much was spent. So we knew that year, so we knew exactly how much money we had left down to the nearest cent. And what we found is when we finally managed to get those bookings done, we found that there's actually a decent sized discrepancy between how much we approved and how much was spent. So that, for example, if we approved 400 euros for an event, that didn't mean that all 400 euros was necessarily spent. Perhaps only 350 euros or 380 euros was spent. And that remaining 20 or 50 euros went on over the few years to build up into what is now our excess budget. Now, we were told last year and at the beginning of this year that our excess budget was about 28,000 euros. And so last year Parliament decided that of that 28,000 euros we wanted to separate €3,000 and put it into a separate account for as a sort of buffer in case there are any problems with, for example, overspending in 1 year. And then the remaining €25,000 would be used for projects of university development that are decided by students and are done for students. What we found out this past week is that there was a huge amount of miscommunication as to what that figure entailed. And so what became clear is that what we were told was €28,000 in excess budget was actually a combination of excess budget and our budget from last year. And so that the actual excess budget last year was only €11,000. And part of the reason why this was able to happen was because of a major time lag in accounting, so that when we had done our books up to date, but by the time things actually went through accounting, it was several months later. And there were other figures that went in. What's important, though, is that there was no mismanagement of funds by anyone in the undergraduate student government. We kept our books down to the nearest sentence of what we approved. The other thing that's important is that we're taking every step right now to ensure that this problem doesn't happen again in the future.
Can you give us any more details regarding how the budget is going to be spent in the coming months?
Right, yes. By the time this video comes out, I suppose, we will have already had 2 meetings with everyone who submitted an application or a proposal for how to spend this budget. So we had about 42 proposals, and ranging from anywhere between a few €100 to 5, 6, even €25,000. And so we obviously don't have that full money to spend anymore, but what we have done by the time this video comes out is met with those people, decided on as many as 5 or 10 proposals that will be put up for referendum. And so what I can really strongly encourage is that you do everything that you can to really inform yourself as what these ideas are, what people are suggesting, since it will ultimately be up to every single student, undergraduate student at this university, as to how we spend that money and on what. So I definitely encourage you to really take the time to read through the proposals and familiarize yourself with them, so that we can all use this money efficiently and effectively.
Everyone knows that the pathways behind East Hall are not properly illuminated. This could cause you trouble in the future, but the administration is already working on this. They have to decide whether to reactivate the proper lights that are already there or install new lights in the walls of East Hall, which would be a more price-effective method. Until that time, however, the administration suggests that you find an alternate route at night. So far, so good. Crime on our campus has been incredibly low. Even at the Blue House, which is outside of university walls, no incidents have been reported. However, precaution is always necessary. Don't lock yourself in your room just yet. Just follow a few of these tips to help keep you safe. For example, lock your windows and doors, especially if you live on the first floor. And students, don't invite outsiders into our campus. Outside perception is that security here is incredibly tight. So encourage this opinion by maybe not hopping the fences when you forget your transponder.
Sports teams constantly trample down our beloved grass with force, tennis shoes, and metal cleats. Day after day of sports practice certainly damages the field, but that doesn't mean it's up to us to finish the job. One student walking across the grass will barely leave a mark, but if that one student turns into 2, turns into 4, turns into 100, the grass will simply become nothing more than the dirt path leading up to the IRC. Jacob's administration spends vast amounts of money each year to reverse the damage done to the field, so please do your part and keep off the field.